side of the Russian segment of the international outpost. The Soyuz MS-18 will be relocating from one parking place to another at the International Space Station today, opening up the Rosviet port for the arrival of 3 additional crew members 1 week from today. You are looking live at the Russian Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft docked to the Rosviet module. Aboard the Soyuz MS-18 at this hour are the 3 crew members who rode into space on this vehicle back on April 9th. Roscosmos cosmonaut and Soyuz commander Oleg Novitsky, Roscosmos board engineer number 1 Petr Dubrov, and NASA flight engineer and Soyuz board engineer number 2 Mark Vende Haj. This trio activated the Soyuz's systems about 4 hours ago, climbed aboard the spacecraft some 3 hours ago, suiting up in their Sokol launch and entry suits for this brief 39-minute jaunt around the block of the International Space Station. We'll talk more about this Soyuz relocation in a moment. As we mentioned earlier, today's operation is being controlled by engineers at the Russian Mission Control Center in the town of Korolyov. They're watching telemetry from the Soyuz. They will be conversing with the crew members during this relocation activity that will result in the first ever docking of any vehicle to the recently arrived Nauka multipurpose laboratory module, which is right next to the Rosviet module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. Here in Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers on duty at this hour, led by Flight Director Anthony Varia. He is joined on console to his right by spacecraft communicator Scott Sagatti, who is talking to the remaining Expedition 65 crew members on board the station throughout the course of the day today. This relocation activity, which will begin with the physical separation of the Soyuz from the Rosviet module at 7:21 a.m. Central Time, 8:21 a.m. Eastern Time, will open up the docking port on the Rosviet for the arrival 1 week from today of the Soyuz MS-19 spacecraft with a veteran cosmonaut and 2 spaceflight participants on board. 49-year-old Anton Shkaplerov, in the center of this crew portrait, will command the Soyuz MS-19 vehicle, joined on his right by 37-year-old Russian actress Yulia Peresild and a veteran film producer and director, 38-year-old Klim Shiphenko. Peresild and Shiphenko will be filming a movie titled Challenge during 12 days aboard the International Space Station, returning to Earth on October 17th, Kazakhstan time, with Oleg Novitsky on the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft that is being relocated today. Shkaplerov will remain on the orbital outpost through late March, returning to Earth with Mark Vende Haj and Petr Dubrov, who will complete some 355 days in space. For Vende Haj, that will be the longest single spaceflight in U.S. spaceflight history.
I thought we were supposed to fly away from the station to a 45-meter range, and then select display either SSVP or RODK display, and send a command to extend the probe. And we'll remind you of that. And of course, after you're done station keeping and the roll maneuver, you'll open the SABO hatch. You will need.
You're listening to an interpreter talking. Using the translation capability between the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov and Oleg Novitsky, the Soyuz commander, seated in the center seat of the Soyuz MS-18. You will hear the term Kazbeki from the Russian flight controllers. That is the call sign Novitsky is using for his Soyuz vehicle. Kazbek is a major mountain in the Caucasus chain on the border of Russia and Georgia, the same call sign that he used between launch and docking back on April 9th. This graphic will show you how today's relocation activity will begin with the undocking 16 minutes from now of the Soyuz from the Rosviet module. Numbers 1 through 3 indicate the back away of the Soyuz from the Rassvet module. At position number 2, the Soyuz will station keep at 45 meters from the station. It will rotate to the proper orientation while Petr Dubrov unstraps from his seat to the left of Oleg Novitsky and makes his way into the upper portion of the Soyuz, the bulbous portion known as the orbital module, where he will later spend about 8 minutes taking digital still pictures of the International Space Station, most notably of the new Nauka module, as well as videography of the panorama of the International Space Station. Once the station keeping is complete, the Soyuz will back away to position number 4, if we can pull that up on the graphic, and then we'll begin a fly around basically to the left to a position some 120 meters or so away from the station to position number 6 for another opportunity for station keeping, where Dubroff will begin his 7 or 8 minutes worth of photography and videography. Once that's complete, then we move down to position 7 and 8, where Novitsky, doing manual flying of the Soyuz, will then orient the station, the Soyuz vehicle, some 120 meters behind the docking port on the Earth-facing side of the Nauka module to begin final approach. More station keeping is in the offing at position number 10 for a few minutes at the 45-meter mark to reorient the Soyuz for its docking orientation and to allow Dubroff to get back into his seat at board engineer number 1's position on the left side of Novitsky before we begin final approach for contact and capture to the Nauka module. Again, this relocation activity is designed to open up the Rassvet module for the arrival 1 week from today of the next Soyuz vehicle, the MS-19, that is scheduled to launch at 3:55 a.m. Central Time, 4:55 a.m. Eastern Time on October 5th from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The command to begin the opening of the hooks that have held the Soyuz in place at the Rassvet module for the past 173 days is about 11.5 minutes away. It will take about 90 seconds for those hooks to open fully, and for springs on both sides of the docking interface to push off against one another, allowing the Soyuz to back away from the Rassvet module. The 3 crew members, Novitsky, Dubroff, and Vende Haj, are in the center section of this Soyuz vehicle, just below that bulbous section. That's the orbital module that is docked to Rassvet. They are located in the descent module, strapped into their seats in their Sokol launch and entry suits, ready to begin this short journey of about 39 minutes to relocate the Soyuz. This is the 20th time that a Soyuz relocation has taken place in International Space Station history.
For some reason, the time has stopped. Is it frozen again? At what time did the clock stop incrementing?
The International Space Station is currently flying 260 miles above the Earth, about to begin a southwest to northeasterly track that will carry it across southern Argentina and back across the South Atlantic. On this particular orbit of the Earth, again, a good view of the Soyuz MS-18. This is the vehicle that Novitsky will return to Earth in on October 17th with the 2 Russian spaceflight participants, Yulia Peresильd and Klim Shipенko, after they complete their 12-day mission to the International Space Station that begins with their launch 1 week from today from the Baikonur Cosmodrome.
Input 2 has been rebooted. The cursor is moving. Input is reacting to inputs, and the time is incrementing.
As mentioned earlier, the 3 crew members were up early this morning. They conducted systems checks of their Soyuz vehicle. climbed aboard about 4 hours ago, closed the hatch, conducted leak checks, suited up in their Sokol launch and entry suits, and they are strapped into their respective seats. Novitsky in the center seat of the Soyuz, flanked on his left by Pетр Dubrov and on his right by NASA flight engineer Mark Vende Haj.
Copy.
The new Nauka multi-purpose laboratory module, to which this Soyuz vehicle in your field of view will be redocking to, with the docking scheduled at 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, was launched from Baikonur on a Proton M rocket back on July 21st. It automatically docked to the International Space Station on July 29th, docking to the same port on the Russian segment of the station that had been occupied for some 20 years by the Pirs docking compartment, which was discarded a few days before the arrival of Nauka.
That's complete. And please prepare command E2.
Also in this field of view, just on the right side of your screen, those are the ultraflex solar arrays that belong to the Cygnus vehicle, the Northrop Grumman cargo ship that arrived some months ago to the International Space Station. At the bottom right of your screen is the cupola. The rest of the Expedition 65 crew, led by Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Aki Hoshide, watching on as they continue other work aboard the orbital outpost today. Hoshide will be handing over command of the International Space Station next Monday, October 4th, to Thomas Pesquet of the European Space Agency. You see the entire Expedition 65 crew from left to right: Pетr Dubrov, Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur, Pesquet, Hoshide, Oleg Novitsky, who's today's Soyuz commander, and NASA astronaut Mark Vende Haj, who is in the midst of almost a year in space, heading home for a landing at the end of March of next year.
Can you go to TVS display on input 2 and see if a closed transmitter is powered up? Yes, we can confirm from the display that the closed prime transmitter is receiving power.
As mentioned a moment ago, today's relocation activity, commanded by Oleg Novitsky, is going to be a manual operation. He will fly the Soyuz away from Rassvet, maneuver it to a point some 120 meters above the U.S. segment of the International Space Station, to allow Petr Dubrov about 7 or 8 minutes worth of photography and videography capability to document the station, as well as the new Nauka multi-purpose laboratory module for engineering purposes and review by Russian technicians, before he flies the Soyuz back to a position 120 meters directly behind the docking port of Nauka, aligning the Soyuz to begin his final approach for contact and capture.
Display on the format you're looking at, and send command to turn on display to activate floodlights. Copy. And the floodlight has been sent, and it's on. Prepare command D7 to activate docking and internal transfer system power. Copy. It's ready to be sent on your go, Moscow.
Принимаем дисплейную картинку.
And we're getting the picture of the display you're looking at. Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. About 3 minutes or so away from the undocking command that will initiate the opening of the hooks on the Soyuz side of the docking interface, enabling springs on both sides of that docking interface to push off against one another at 7:21 a.m. Central Time, 8:21 a.m. Eastern Time, enabling the Soyuz MS-18 to break free from the Rassvet module and begin its relocation over to Neuka. The International Space Station is flying over the South Atlantic, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. Another view of the Soyuz MS-18. The 3 crew members are ready for their short trip around the block, ready to relocate their vehicle to Neuka, where it will remain until the departure of Oleg Novitsky and the 2 Russian spaceflight participants, Yulia Peresild and Klim Shipenko, on October 17th, Kazakhstan time, for a landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan. For Novitsky, it will wrap up his 6-month mission in orbit. For the 2 spaceflight participants, they will have spent 12 days in space. About a minute and a half away now from the undocking command.
We're going to power up SSVP. Docking mechanism at 15:25. I'm ready on your go, Moscow. At 15:19, I had sent the command to activate SSVP. SSVP is on. RODK is on. Copy. Send the command.
The International Space Station now in free drift. All thrusters disabled to enable the Soyuz to have a clean getaway from the Rassvet module. The undocking command just seconds away.
You are go to send a docking command at 15:20:00. Copy. Command D17. Oleg, did you just say that the input 2 froze again? No, it spontaneously just started rebooting itself. And at 15:20 even, I sent the command D17 to open the hooks. S11 is illuminated.
The undocking command has been issued. This will take about 90 seconds, enabling the hooks to open and springs on both sides of the docking interface to push against one another to create physical separation.
On SS display, you are go to prepare command to switch to narrow angle. Copy. Input 2 has rebooted itself and now is working. Copy.
Надо с input 2 выдать дисплей пустовой команду.
Не понял.
Say again, Moscow.
На формат ТВС.
You need to switch to TVS display on input 2. Copy. Switching to TVS.
We're standing by for physical separation.
2. I'm on TVS display at this time.
Дисплей плюс ТВ.
Copy, Oleg. Please send the command display plus TV. Command has been sent.
Physical separation confirmed. 7:21 a.m. Central Time, 8:21 a.m. Eastern Time, as the International Space Station flew 260 miles over the South Atlantic east of Brazil.
LED just went off. Activating translational hand controller. Translational hand controller is activated in aerodeka mode.
The Soyuz will move to a position some 45 meters away from the Rassvet module for a short period of station keeping. It will rotate to a different orientation and allowing Petr Dubrov, board engineer number 1, to make his way out of his seat and up into the upper section, the bulbous section of the Soyuz, known as the orbital module, where he will set up for videography and photography of the International Space Station.
I'm going to wait 5 minutes for retreat. 5 seconds into separation between the objects. No FOD or any damages visible on the docking interface on MRM1. Copy. And we are continuing to maintain the vehicle inside plus minus 10 degree approach corridor. Copy.
So far, so good, as Novitsky manually flies the Soyuz away from the Rassvet module, ultimately to a distance of about 120 meters from the complex. He will move the Soyuz to a position above the U.S. segment of the International Space Station, allowing Dubrov a few minutes worth of photography and videography time.
ISS. I have a good visual on ISS. And on the overlay grid, it's about 175 meter range. Starting station keeping, performing a roll maneuver.
And this is the first pause point in today's relocation. A station keeping maneuver. And now you see the Soyuz rolling to the proper orientation for the next phase, which will be to back away to a distance of 120 meters from Rassvet.
Too bad we removed the curtains. Why is it bothering you? Very much so.
We will be losing our KU downlink capability through the tracking and data relay satellite system a short time from now. We hope to continue, however, to receive video from Soyuz through Russian ground stations before we regain the KU capability shortly before the relocation is complete.
Олег, веди репортаж. У нас нет изображения.
Oleg, we lost the videos, so if you don't mind, can you...
At the time, we lost video during this rather lengthy handover between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system. Novitsky had rolled Soyuz to the proper orientation in the first phase of station keeping. He will continue to back away to a distance of 120 meters, flanked on his left by Petr Dubrov, who is making his way up into the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz, where he will camp out for a short period of time to perform digital still photography and videography of the station and the new Nauka multipurpose laboratory module.
We did not, but we heard it now. You are go, Peter, to go into the orbital module.
And you just heard Russian flight controllers through the interpreter giving Dubrov the green light to unstrap from his seat to the left of Novitsky and make his way upstairs, if you will, to the orbital module, where he will set up for photography and videography of this operation.
Equalizing pressure. Can you place this connector into your pocket?
Разъем отстыковали, да?
Did you demate the connector? Yes, I demated the medical harness connector. I have one more connector to demate, equalize pressure. And this is Petr reporting. I'm starting to open the SABO hatch.
Dubrov has now opened up the hatch between the descent module and the orbital module, so he can make his way into the orbital module, where cameras were pre-positioned for him to have an opportunity for about 7 or 8 minutes worth of photography and videography during this relocation activity. Again, we are out of range of downlink television capability through the tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll be regaining that closer to the time of the redocking of the Soyuz to the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. We do expect in about 13 minutes or so to pick up Russian ground station television.
Mark, can you hold this for a while? Thanks.
Спасибо. Так, борт-инженер перешел в бытовую.
Thank you. The flight engineer is inside orbital module.
По вашей готовности можно выполнять отход на дальности 120 метров.
Copy. On your go, whenever you are ready, Oleg, you have Moscow's go to separate to range between 120 and 140 meters away from the station. Copy. We're not ready yet. We're still working on configuring comm cables and medical harnesses and everything else. Okay, we're back. We have a good communication link, and I am ready to perform a retreat to a range of 120 meters. You are go. Copy Moscow. Go. This is Peter at 1424. I have taken a possession of the photo camera.
As you can hear through the interpreter, Oleg Novitsky now given the green light to continue backing away from his station-keeping position from 45 meters all the way out to 120 meters, as you can see in this graphic, in positions 1 through 4.
How is the range?
Petr Dubrov is up in the orbital module, ready to begin photography at the point at which the Soyuz will have maneuvered to 120 meters above the U.S. segment of the International Space Station to get a panoramic view of the orbital complex. You can see position number 4 is 120 meters directly away from Rassvet. Novitsky then will move basically to his left in the Soyuz vehicle to position 5, and then up to position 6 for another period of station keeping. That will enable Dubrov to begin his 7 or 8 minutes worth of photography and videography. When he is complete with that, Novitsky will then maneuver down to position 7 and ultimately down to position 9, where he will once again be 120 meters, but this time directly behind the docking port to the new Nauka multi-purpose laboratory module, at which time he'll begin his final approach. One final pause point at position 10 for station keeping to rotate the Soyuz into the correct orientation for final approach for contact and capture, and to allow Dubrov to return to the descent module to strap in once again for the final minutes before this relocation activity comes to an end, with a docking to Nauka scheduled at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Central Time.
Always getting in the way of the camera field of view. So it's kind of hard to take pictures without it being in the camera view. Copy. And this is Oleg. I am ready to start the fly around. We copy your go to start fly around with a reference of MRM1 docking interface. Copy. I deflected the hand controller up for 17 seconds. Copy that, and now wait for...
Novitsky now in manual control of the Soyuz, flying to a position some 120 meters or so above the station toward the U.S. segment of the complex.
With the field of view of the edge in the blister window. This is Oleg reporting. The size is about 2 squares on the overlay display, And I just put the rotational hand controller back to neutral position. And this is Peter. I'm starting a video imagery at this time. Copy. The angular size is about 175 meters. Copy. Please perform a short posigrade burn. Copy. Short posigrade burn.
Petr Dubrov up in the orbital module, the upper portion of the three-section Soyuz vehicle, taking an opportunity to use both digital cameras as well as a video camera to capture a panoramic documentation opportunity of the International Space Station.
On the overlay of node 2 is 2 squares. Do you see Earth in the field of view? Yes, we do. And it's flying with the Earth on the backdrop.
Dubrov is explaining what he is seeing as he's capturing this imagery of the International Space Station, the various elements, the modules, including the new Nauka multi-purpose laboratory module to which the Soyuz will dock to a short time from now. The International Space Station flying from southwest to northeast, about to cross the border between Niger and Libya at an altitude of 260 statute miles. Everything going well with the relocation. We should be about 5 minutes away from acquiring television through Russian ground stations. We'll be picking up our KU television capability through the tracking and data relay satellite system closer to the time of redocking.
And the Dragon vehicle. We're still estimating range to USOS as 175 meters. Oleg, please make sure you maintain the range. I am closing in slowly. So now node 2 size on the overlay display is 1.5 squares on the overlay display grid. Copy. Right now it's 15:38:30.
То есть окончание фотографирования широким объективом 14-24 и начало съемки детальной российского сегмента, правильно?
You may continue with the imagery. So, Moscow, this is Peter. My question is that I start at 15:38:30 with the panoramic view, and then I switch to the detailed close-up views. How copy my question, Moscow? We copied the question. Well, if you copied the question, please give us some guidance or an answer. Peter, I'm hearing nothing from Moscow, so do what you think is necessary. And we just got a word from the specialist that at 15:40, you can perform detailed close-up pictures and video imagery. Copy 15:40. I'm going to...
The Soyuz is just about at the apex of its relocation maneuver above the U.S. segment of the International Space Station, where Dubroff is continuing to capture digital imagery and video of the orbital outpost as it flies toward the Mediterranean at this hour.
75 meters. Deflecting a translational hand controller down for 11 seconds. MRM-1 is currently at the center of the VSCOP periscope. After 17 seconds, MRM-1 is still in the...
And having reached the apex of the first phase of this relocation maneuver, Novitsky now is beginning to fly the Soyuz back towards the position where he will be directly behind the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module to begin final approach a short time from now. This will take a few minutes to return to a position directly behind Nauka from the photography position at number 6. He'll be flying down to position number 9 to begin his final approach toward redocking.
Clarified the last abbreviation. Boost dash 2125. The Russian B as in Bravo. Copy. And we are now at the MRM 1 or at the MRM 1 interface axis right across from it.
Олег, веди репортаж.
Oleg, please do not say anything because we're not getting the video, so we need you to tell us what you're doing. We are continuing with fly around to end up right across from MLM docking port. The size of MLM is 2 squares on the overlay display grid. We have gotten to MLM bar. The size is 1.1 squares on the overlay display. The target is lined up perfectly with the vehicle. Copy. When you're ready, you can start accelerating. A recommended closing rate is 0.3 meters per second. Copy. So you are go for me to close towards the station.
This is Mission Control Houston. Novitsky has now flown the Soyuz back down to a station-keeping position along the docking port axis, or the lane, if you will, that aligns the Soyuz with the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module. He will begin to move in at the first phase of final approach for redocking, moving in from 120 meters behind the Naoka docking port to about 45 meters away to reorient the station, basically rotate the Soyuz vehicle once again, as he did earlier in this relocation procedure. That also will allow Petr Dubrov to make his way back down into his seat in the descent module from the orbital module, where he spent several minutes taking digital still photography and videography of the International Space Station.
May I? Yes. Copy. We're smack across the docking target of MLM. Copy, Oleg.
Сближение наблюдаете?
Can you confirm approach to the station? I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. Oleg, do you see the motion towards the ISS? Can you confirm? The current range is 70 meters, and the size is 1 square on the overlay. Copy.
Юра, у нас мишень получается слева вверх по 45, правильно? Слева вверх по 45.
Yuri, the target is supposed to end up on the left of us, below us at 45-degree angle. No, it's supposed to be on the right. Right now, I see it on the left and on the bottom. And you are correct. Copy. Thank you very much, Yuri, for quick response. We're getting to 45-degree, 45-meter range, that is.
Novitsky is flying the Soyuz MS-18 vehicle to a position 45 meters directly behind the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module docking port.
I am finished with...
This is basically between numbers 10 and 11 on this relocation diagram. Petr Dubrov will make his way back to his seat, strapping in the descent module to the left of Novitsky. Mark Vende Haj is seated to Novitsky's right, watching all the controls and the data from the Soyuz during the initial phase of this final approach for the first ever docking to the new Naoka multipurpose laboratory module.
Thank you for that tip, because it wasn't very well visible, so I couldn't tell. This is Peter. I am still recording. Turned off GoPro power. This is Oleg. The range is about 45 meters. Oh, Mark, thank you so much. Thanks. You're most welcome. This is Peter. I am ready to go back into the descent module. How copy, Moscow? We copy, and you are go to ingress descent module and egress orbital module. Ventilation is deactivated. You need to reactivate it. Copy. COM is off right now. I need to connect the cables.
We're about 2 minutes away from regaining our
Copy.
KU downlink capability from the International Space Station through the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system. You're looking through Russian ground stations at a data display that is the same display that Oleg Novitsky is seeing in the center seat of the Soyuz descent module.
Copy. Before you close the hatch and move into descent module, we need you to set pressure relief valve in orbital module.
To recap, the Soyuz MS-18 with Novitsky, Vende Haj, and Dubroff aboard, undocked from the Rassvet module at 7:21 a.m. Central Time, 8:21 a.m. Eastern Time, conducting a relocation fly-around, first to a position about 170 meters above the U.S. segment of the station, allowing Petr Dubrov to take photography and videography of the panoramic view of the complex. Oleg Novitsky at the controls of the Soyuz, manually flying the vehicle to that position, number 6, then back down to position number 9. Currently, the vehicle is at position number 11. Petr Dubrov is now strapping into the descent module next to Novitsky for the final approach for docking to the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module. The International Space Station is flying into an orbital sunset about 260 miles over northern Kazakhstan, about to begin a northwest to southeast track in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator.
Go ahead.
Олег, как слышно?
Oleg, you're coming in completely broken.
Олег, как слышно?
Oleg, how do you read?
Олег, как слышно?
Oleg, this is Mission Control Moscow. How do you read? Kazbek, this is Mission Control Moscow. How do you read?
Kazbek, это по Москве.
Kazbeki, how do you read?
Kazbek, это по Москве, как нас слышите?
Kazbeki, this is Mission Control Moscow. How do you read? We are not hearing you. Moscow, Kazbeki, how are you receiving us now? Loud and clear.
And we have regained our downlink KU capability from the International Space Station. A great view of the Soyuz, its thrusters firing. Oleg Novitsky at the controls, manually flying the Soyuz from a station-keeping position 45 meters from the Rassvet module and the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module next door. Naoka will be the port of call for docking that is expected just a few minutes from now. This relocation effort designed to free up the Rassvet module for the arrival in 1 week on October 5th of the Soyuz MS-19 spacecraft with Anton Shkaplerov, Yulia Peresильd, and Klim Shipenko on board.
Copy. And I'm ready to perform the roll maneuver. Moscow, do I have a go? I understand you gave me a go. Is that correct? Yes, you go for the roll maneuver.
Петр, можно выбрать пересветку.
Peter, you can switch AGC mode if it helps you any. Copy.
The Soyuz now has begun its roll to put it in the proper orientation with the solar arrays configured at the right angle for final approach for contact and capture to Naoka.
Range is between 45 to 50 meters, and I'm continuing the roll maneuver to a hard stop
Наблюдаем, Олег, у нас есть картинка.
on the hand controller. Copy, and we just got our video back. Copy, roll maneuver.
This view from Russian ground stations showing the Soyuz view from an external television camera of the new docking port on the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module. This is the same port to which the new Prishal node module will be linked up to following its launch later this year. A multi-hatched docking module that can accommodate multiple vehicles.
Send command 5, please. Course scanning and antenna to be stowed. And D17 command is armed.
Олег, входим в тень. 15:57.
The Soyuz docking system has been powered up.
Oleg, just FYI, we're entering eclipse. Maybe we should pull this down. Thank you for your help, Oleg. Thank you, Peter. The range is 45 meters. Copy, 45 meters.
The Soyuz and its 3 occupants, Novitsky, Vende Haj, and Dubrov, on final approach for docking to the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module.
Message, failure of polling of VPR data from the descent control unit 1-1. Copy. Can you select a different AGC mode, please? I'll try. Oleg, is this good lighting for you, or should I change the AGC mode? I just have my hands full. Range is 25. The target is at the center. Crosshairs are aligned.
The Soyuz now less than 20 meters away from docking to Naoka.
Activating translational hand controller impulse mode. Copy, and we recommend that you continue to close in towards the station at a rate of 0.02. Copy.
The target is centered. We copy that.
The Soyuz MS-18 and the International Space Station flying from northwest to southeast over the border between China and North Korea. Just a few meters separating the Soyuz from the first docking ever to the new Naoka multipurpose laboratory module that you see at the bottom of your screen.
Yes, we are seeing the squares for the target. Approaching the station keeping point range.
The Soyuz and the station flying directly over Pyongyang.
The diameter is 2.5 squares. Copy. Performing the station keeping the range is 3 meters. Copy.
One final alignment of the Soyuz, 3 meters away from contact and capture. Good view of the docking target on Naoka. Now back to a view from external cameras on the International Space Station.
Ready for docking. You have our go.
One meter away. Standing by for contact and capture. Contact confirmed. And capture confirmed.
Confirming the TSK mode.
Docking confirmed at 8:04 a.m. Central Time, 9:04 a.m. Eastern Time, as the International Space Station flew 260 miles just to the west of Osaka, Japan. The docking probe now in the process of retracting to form a hard mate between the Soyuz MS-18 that has moved to a new parking place at the International Space Station, the first docking to the new Naoka multipurpose laboratory module now complete.
The route is off. In a couple of minutes, please select the SSVP display. Copy. The pulse mode for the controller is off. Copy that. For the Rudicom mode, it is off. Copy that. The SM probe is out. You don't have the D9.
We'll be standing by for the closing of the hooks on the Soyuz vehicle. The Soyuz MS-18 relocating from the Rassvet module to the new Naoka multipurpose laboratory module. Naoka is now open for business, awaiting the arrival 1 week from today of the next Soyuz vehicle with Anton Shkaplerov, Russian actress Yulia Peresild, and Russian producer-director Klim Shipenko, who are scheduled to launch next Tuesday from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
Время ссылки где-то 16:04, да?
Да, где-то так.
16:04 for soft capture, is that correct? Yes, work per page 92.
Принял, перешли в Союз 2. 16:04:15 точное время.
16:54, 15 is the exact time. Copy that. Now page 92, sending the R7 command. Confirmed.
Выдаю R7.
R7 command sent.
R7 выдано.
R7 has been sent.
Выдаю R6.
R6. R6 we copy.
R6 выдано. Отключаю фару.
Deactivating the light. Copy that.
S-18 выдано.
S-17 command sent.
Закрываю РПВ-1.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're standing by for the closing of the Soyuz hooks at the docking interface with the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module, to which the Soyuz MS-18 docked just a few moments ago at 8:04 a.m. Central Time, 9:04 a.m. Eastern Time. Oleg Novitsky flying the Soyuz from his center seat in the descent module, flanked on his left by Petr Dubrov and on his right by Mark Vende Haj. The Soyuz flew to a distance of about 120 meters away from the Rassvet module, and then to a position some 170 meters above the U.S. segment of the station, allowing Dubrov to conduct photography, both with digital cameras and a video camera of the International Space Station from the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz vehicle, before Novitsky flew back to a position number 9 on this diagram to begin final approach for the docking to Naoka, which occurred flawlessly just a few minutes ago.
Так, ожидаем загорания С-13.
Waiting for the F-13.
Да, ждем С-13.
Yes, we are confirming the F-13.
С-13 не загорелась.
Not seeing the light for F-13. Copy that.
Дмитрий, 13, защелки выдвинуты, погас.
The latches indicator is off. Copy that.
This is Mission Control Houston. Confirmation now that the Soyuz hooks have been closed, forming a hard mate between the Soyuz and the new Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. So this relocation activity is now complete. The Soyuz crew will conduct a period of leak checks now before they open the hatch to return inside the International Space Station. All of the activities went by the book this morning, with undocking occurring at 7:21 a.m. Central Time from the Rassvet module. The fly-around for photography and videography having been conducted with Oleg Novitsky at the controls. Petr Dubrov acting as the cameraman today from the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz vehicle. Novitsky flew back to a position aligning the Soyuz to Nauka, and then flew in manually in a perfect approach and a flawless docking that occurred at 8:04 a.m. Central Time, 9:04 a.m. Eastern Time, just to the west of Osaka, Japan. So today's relocation is complete. The stage now set for next Tuesday's arrival of the Soyuz MS-19. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. A lot of activity coming up at the International Space Station over the course of the next few days. That will begin on Thursday with the undocking of the SpaceX Cargo Dragon vehicle to complete its 23rd commercial resupply mission to the orbital outpost. Our coverage of Cargo Dragon's undocking from the complex will begin at 7:45 a.m. Central Time, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time, just 2 days from now on Thursday, September 30th. As Expedition 65 heads into the home stretch, there'll be a change of command of the International Space Station next Monday at 2:20 p.m. Central Time, 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time, as Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Aki Hoshide hands over the reins of the International Space Station to his Crew Dragon crewmate, Thomas Pesquet of the European Space Agency, who will be at the helm of the station for a few weeks until he departs in November for the trip back home with Hoshide, Shane Kimbrough, and Megan MacArthur. That change of command ceremony next Monday at 2:20 p.m. Central Time, 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, a week from today, the launch of Soyuz MS-19 from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, with launch coverage beginning at 3:15 a.m. Central, 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time. That's the launch of Anton Shkaplerov, Russian actress Yulia Peresild, and Russian producer-director Klim Shipenko on the Soyuz MS-19, a two-orbit rendezvous 3 hours from launch to docking to the International Space Station. Shkaplerov to begin a long-duration mission on the station, Peresild and Shipenko to spend 12 days on the orbital outpost, returning home with Oleg Novitsky on Saturday night, October 16th U.S. time, October 17th Kazakhstan time. All of that activity coming up on NASA television, as the activity rarely wanes on the International Space Station, and the next week is no exception. With that, we'll wrap up our coverage for today. A successful Soyuz relocation as Soyuz MS-18 moved from the Rassvet module to the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module, redocking a few minutes ago in the latest move to open up a docking port for the arrival of 3 new crew members to the International Outpost 1 week from today. With that, we'll complete our coverage for today. We hope you have a good day. Stay safe. This is Mission Control Houston.
11 is not